All right. My name is Uchenna. I am a 35 years old, live in Southern California, right outside of Los Angeles, and I am a software project manager. More specifically, I'm a product development specialist. And what that means, we'll get to in a second. Working in product development is a job that I never knew that I could have. It's a job that I never knew existed until actually I went to college, but it was the job that I always kind of really gravitated towards. Um, Actually, my first week in college, I understood that this was an actual profession and I can make a living out of it. What describe my job? The best way to describe my job is to work out what a typical day in my job looks like. A product development specialist is in charge of making products and managing that process. So, what I would do in a hypothetical situation is I would go to a company or a client or somebody that needed a product developed and constructed, and they would say something like this: "Hey, this nail, we need this nail. We need a device that drives this nail into a piece of wood so that we can kind of stick pieces of wood together. And it needs to be hard. It needs to be hard. I need to be able to hold it in my hand and to be able to smash the nail into the piece of wood. Now, obviously, many of you might be thinking about a hammer, but let's assume that a hammer isn't invented yet. Okay, so I would have to take this information, listen to the company, and go back. And in this hypothetical, a product person might come back and say, okay, hold it in your hand. It needs to be dense. Drive the nail. Boom, right here, 3 pound weight. I can hold in my hand. Take the nail. Boom, drive the nail. We're good. We're done. Now the client may say, no, that's not what I want. That's not what we need. It's a weight. I need a specialized device. Well, my answer, or that person's answer may be, well, that's what you asked for. Now they say, no, no, no. It needs to be small and dense, and I need to hold it in my hand. I'll say, okay. I go back. I come back and I bring them this. I say, this has a flat head, and then I can hold it in my hand, and it's not as heavy, but it's still dense, and I can smash the nail into the wood. I can even pull the nail out. They say, no, it has to have a handle. Okay, that's not what you asked for. Next iteration, I bring the handle, or I could I could bring the handle like this. Back and forth, we come out with something like this finally. They say, this is great, but these nails are very dense. These woods are very dense. This is plastic. I say, this is not what you asked for. Finally, I come back with this, what we all know as a hammer. It's dense, it holds, drives the wood. It's nice. It's the form factor that they wanted, right? And so that's the product development process. My job is to use my expertise in problem solving and the technical analysis of the problem through conversations I had with the people that I'm working with to shorten the distance and time between their verbal requirements and to find the hidden requirements, we call hidden requirements, so that I don't have to go through each one of these iterations and I can go as direct from what they tell me to this. And that is what a product development specialist does. I particularly work with software, so the solutions and things I create are software built. And that requires me to go and talk with a lot of people in the oil and gas industry. The software I build works on when tanks and oil tankers and chemical manufacturing plants, oil pressing plants have nasty chemicals. When they break, explode, a pipe cracks, chemicals are released. My software detects those chemicals and what volumes, percentages, and determines where that plume or that cloud of smoke goes so we can keep people safe, move people out of the area so that the workers aren't affected, the environment's not affected, and the local community's not affected. So it's not necessarily building hammers, but it's on more larger, complex software systems. Okay. The best part of my job. The best part of my job is actually finding solutions to problems that are very difficult, that it doesn't seem a practical solution is applicable. So I pride myself on finding interesting and unorthodox solutions to problems that are very difficult. So a lot of times, one things I like about the industry and math in general is that there's not always one solution. You might not be able to find a direct solution, and sometimes a solution might be so crazy it's just crazy enough to work. And when we find those things and those things solve the problem of the client. They solve it well and reduce things like cost and time. That's one of the most gratifying experiences I have, because it feels like I just pulled off some type of crazy caper. And talking to the clients and talking to the people and seeing the communities that my software helps out and keeps safe and protects, it actually makes me feel good. I'm from the Gulf Coast initially, so there's a lot of oil refineries, but I've worked in other industries before, and it never changes. Once you find really good solutions to hard technical problems, there's no better feeling in the world. It's like you just, I don't know, solved a crazy math problem on the board. Um, the worst part of my job, not surprisingly, is working with certain people that you cannot find what they want out. It's my job to almost get in the head of certain people, because a lot of times people don't know what they want. They have a good feeling of what they want, but they can't articulate it. And sometimes they don't even know what they want. When we talked about the nail example, sometimes people can focus on driving the nail in, but they'll probably forget about this part, which is actually pulling the nail out. So I have to make sure that I don't miss those things. And sometimes it's very difficult to find out what somebody really, really wants, and you'll be going in circles over and over and over again, going through all these different iterations and not coming up with a good answer. Just like with anything else, once you get frustrated, the best thing to do is kind of take a step back, get a fresh set of eyes on it, maybe invest in reaching out to other people in your team, other people in your industry, your network, even outside of your job, saying, hey, I'm having this problem. I need another set of eyes on it. Typically, those things work themselves out, and sometimes they can't. And that is the worst part, where I'm not able to actually help the clients out. Why did I choose the job? I chose this job because I initially got out of college and I was a programmer. I studied computer science, and I realized that I like building and creating, but I like the technical aspect of designing more than actually me physically building the thing. It's always something that I liked doing. I always liked coming with concepts. I was a very artistic kid. I liked drawing and conceptualizing ideas, whether it be stories or coming up with musical concepts and things like that. Those are things that always gravitated towards me. I love problem solving. I love puzzles. And to me, this is like real life, real world problem solving at its finest. It can be applied to almost any industry, any product you consume. A product development specialist worked on it. The education I had, honestly, I studied computer science in college, and I studied computer science and software project management in my grad school. And I will say that the thing that people don't know about computer science is that I always say computer science has nothing to do with math. I mean, nothing to do with computers at all. It's all math, and it's all manipulating information so that you can expose information that you didn't see was there. Some of you may be taking some algebra classes or something, and you have to bend and distort an equation to find the information that you're looking for, and that's what you have to do in real life. I always say that appreciated the least appreciated thing that we learn in school is the scientific method, which is how do you think? It teaches you how to think. You come up with an idea, you make a guess, you figure out how you're going to solve that problem, you document your experiment so you can actually repeat it if necessary and ultimately come out with a result. So math is fundamental. Scientific method is used everywhere. So don't say, oh, when am I ever going to use this? Anytime you make an argument or present a stance in public, you're using the scientific method, hopefully. And that's pretty much it. Math and science, fundamental. Even if you're not a math and science person, it's always super important. My words of wisdom is to always follow up. When we're given information, very seldomly we ask why. And if we do ask why, we only ask one why. Follow up with information, work through that scientific method yourself, and try to find your own answers to things. It's always easy to appeal to authority and say, well, this really smart person said it. That's great. But always be inquisitive. Always say, I wonder where that came from. No matter what your industry is, whether it's medicine, whether it's math, whether it's science, always asking why and asking questions always puts you in a better position, always makes you grow. So that's what I do, and that's my job, and I love it. Thank you.